Well, welcome everyone to today's Fireside Chat session titled Building an AI-Powered Fashion Community. And our guest today is Shanya Tsai. And we're going to talk about a whole range of topics around AI, app development, the trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship, and how the role of AI in the work that Shanya is doing. What is the Silicon Valley Forum? We are a California-based 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission is to foster innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership in Silicon Valley and throughout the world. We achieve our mission through events, programs, and conferences, and the Silicon Valley Forum functions as a center of knowledge and connections. We cover everything from the latest tech trends to the startup and investment ecosystem. Our activities are aimed to educate, train, inspire, and connect technologists, entrepreneurs, corporates, and investors. We've got a few events coming up for those who live in the San Francisco Bay Area. On February 8th, we'll be meeting at the Alviso Marina County Park in North San Jose for the February Coastal Habitat Restoration Day. On February 22nd will be the Industrial Africa 2025 conference that will be online. Some of you may have heard about that. That was supposed to take place on January 27th, but the organizers decided to reschedule, and that will be an online event. And then on April 13th through the 15th, Silicon Valley Forum will be supporting the 18th annual Star Tides Capabilities Demonstration in Arlington, Virginia. And with the April 16th to 17th Tides follow-on event inside the Pentagon Center courtyard. We do have a few fireside chats being scheduled as well in the month of February and March, and that can be found on our website as well as LinkedIn. The lawyers require me to read this disclaimer that the Silicon Valley Forum, a California Public Benefit Corporation, SVF, does not endorse or sponsor any commercial product, service, or activity. SVF's production of this event does not constitute endorsement by SVF or its representatives. All SVF programs and services are extended to the public on a non-discriminatory basis. And we are a 501c3 public charity. We do receive public donations, and we thank you for your support. All right, out of the stop sharing and into the conversation. I met Shanya, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, probably 8 or 9 years ago, approximately then, I think. I was living in Seattle at the time. I think you were kind of visiting for a long period of time. I think New York was still officially your home, but had the pleasure of really meeting you in the early days of the development of your app and seeing your business plan. But let's start with today, 2025. What is the problem you're solving and who are you solving it for? And then tell us then about your app and the solution. So that's the opening question. Over to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really long time. I remember I met you. I just came to United States as an immigrant, so it's been 10 years. Um, hi everyone. I am founder of HangRr. HangRr is the AI stylist helping you to get style on the go. I came up with this idea when I moved to New York City. Everybody knows New York City is fashion capital. And as immigrant, I am trying to fit into the society, like how to dress up, what's the culture. So, um, you know, back then there was nobody talk about AI, and today, 2025, thanks to OpenAI, I continue to develop this a personal wardrobe styling service through artificial intelligence. I think my goal is to help young professionals, people who just starting their career, moving to the new cities, trying to navigate their life using personal wardrobe styling service, which is very accessible and affordable through AI to help them to achieve their goal, career, and their personal life.
So when we first met, and this is the lesson that I think is important for the audience, is the entrepreneur journey and when the pivot and why the pivot. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I was looking back at the notes. I can't believe it's been 10 years. But I was looking back some of the notes from our early meetings. You had a service that was going into the various small retailers and was going to provide essentially like a fashion, I don't want to call it matchmaking, but you could tell us, I guess that's the question. Tell us what it was in the beginning and the pivots you have made over the last several years and why you made those pivots. Obviously, COVID, and part of that, how did COVID impact your operation as well? But let's go back to the beginning of when you launched. What was your intention when you launched your company and your app, and then the pivots along the way?
Uh, thank you for reminding us our conversation matchmaking. That's a very important keywords and concept. Right now is still matchmaking. I think before AI, back then when we had a conversation, there's a lot of hurdles or difficulties. Like when you apply those fashion information, including like images, style tips, and how you discover new style ideas in the local boutique. But there are lots of steps need to complete in order to create that matchmaking service. Think of this way. I think that many of you use Match.com before or Tinder. When you start to create profile, you have to tell like who you are, your age. And I remember when I first used Match.com, I have to fill the survey for 30 minutes to tell who am I in order to match.com to able to help me to match to the other person. And I think before AI, it's similar to um, any mobile app as well. When you want to match sellers or stores to the customers or customer to find their preferences, their style preferences, and go shopping, there's a lot of steps like to train machine to say this is something that people like. And because of OpenAI, there's natural language processing. It's everything become very seamless. You chat with let's say, let's use ChatGPT, have a very natural conversation, talk to the AI. Who am I? What do I like? And same as boutique as well. What do I have in my stores, and how do I want to reach our customers? And AI is able to facilitate that kinds of matchmaking in a very rapid way and in a very natural, intuitive way. So I think right now I have to say the same concept is still the same concept still apply, but because of thanks to OpenAI, thanks to AI, it makes two sides, seller and buyer, a lot easier. And in the meantime, AI is able to understand who you are when you chat with your AI, or just ChatGPT. Say, hey, I'm going to an event tonight. What should I wear? ChatGPT is able to provide that kinds of recommendations and conversation in the very natural way, really like a human stylist talking to you.
Okay, this is great. Let's go a step back. You're from Taiwan. And is that where you grew up? Or tell us about your childhood. Tell us about your schooling. Because I think it's a great story. I mean, it's and you're an immigrant, and candidly, we're having this conversation the first full day of a new presidential administration where immigration is in the news. It's on the. I just looked at the headlines before we started this call, so it's in the news. But tell us about your backstory and part of that story. What was your interest, or how did you get interest in the area of fashion?
Um, I grew up I'm from Taiwan. I was born and grew up in Taipei. Before I moved to United States, my career, the only career I had was working at TV station as a finance reporter, and I had a part-time job as news anchor. When I moved to the United States, through my parents, well, I think this is a family story. Like my grandparents from China during Chinese Civil War. So we are always have this worry, like, oh, what if Chinese communists come over Taiwan? What's gonna happen? So we consider United States is the only destination, like a promised land for our family. That's why I came here and started everything from scratch.
And are your parents still in Taiwan, or have they joined you in the United States?
Oh, my parents live in Seattle. I got my
Oh,
green
okay.
card through my dad. So
Okay, so your parents are in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. Um, and so when you arrived as an immigrant to the United States, what surprised you about the United States that you thought you knew that you didn't know, or the other way? What were some of the surprises you had when you arrived?
I arrived actually, and I actually arrived in Seattle, got my green card, and moved to New York City immediately. So I think the culture shock mostly when I live in New York City, from Taiwan, mainly like how much people seems like they very diversified city, but in the meantime you are also trying you can also see there's a little group. It's like a nuance for immigrants to trying to figure out which group, which type of people I should hang out. And I think New York City is the city, I would say, fashion capital. People do look at you. Like I have to say, outfit is a message before you speak. People can look at you and say, "Oh yeah, you are the same type of people. Like want to hang out." And as an immigrant, I was trying to figure out which type of people I want to hang out. How do I dress up so I can send a message like, "Hey, I want to talk to you." How which trying to build a connection through clothes sounds superficial, but it is human natural. Is people just look at each other like, yeah, you and I we're the same type of people. Let's talk.
Oh, understandable. So, what led you to launch your company? What was the problem you saw in the beginning, and you said, I'm going to go and jump into one of the most crazy world and be an entrepreneur and a startup founder. What was it that you saw and that you experienced?
I wasn't thinking of start. Well, I should say I had a concept of American is a opportunity, a land of opportunity. If you want to build a business, you want to want to be successful, you can make it. But I think I was not. It was not my goal to be an immigrant, to be an entrepreneur. But I think I started out this idea when I moved to New York City. I was like, really like everything is so expensive. Hire a stylist is really unaffordable. And my closet, if you live in New York City, everyone has a very tiny closet. So I was trying to solve the problem. Is like, uh, how can I be efficient in terms of spending and time, like to dress up, to impress people, to start my career and personal life in a very successful way. I back then, I still now it I realized that um, there are lots of nuance. Um, learn how to get style takes lots of time. I actually interview lots of influencers. They spend at least 3 years to absorb fashion on social media, on magazine or watching TV or movies. And I think that's the problem that I had. And I think people still having right now is like, how can I get that information as soon as it in the most efficient way? That's why I realized I was so pleased that AI is able to provide that information in the very efficient way. I mean, lots of people use ChatGPT. You probably know what do I mean. So yeah.
when you launched your company and when we met, one of the challenges that I pointed out to you is the challenge of being a solo entrepreneur and how difficult that was going to be, kind of because you didn't have a business partner and the challenge of that. How have you been able to kind of bring people together to give you business advice? And what sources have you used, and again, lessons learned for the viewers who are thinking about being entrepreneurs that may not have a business partner? What advice do you have in jumping into kind of what I call the deep end of the pool of entrepreneurship? With a partner, they're going to help you swim. You jumped in by yourself. You went in, and so what are the lessons learned in doing that?
Well, yeah, I have to say without a partner is really challenging. But I think I have to say some lessons I learned. I have to say when we met before AI, I think we definitely need the partners and co-founders and someone who actually share the same ideas or visions or even the same value. You'll be able to bounce them back and forth between partners and trying to move forward. And AI after OpenAI, I think it's starting last year. I still do not have a co-founder, which is I don't feel necessarily I need a co-founder, but I do have a development team that's who share the same value with me. Believe that AI is able to deliver good to personal life and to a small business. I definitely think first of all, try to I should try. You should be always open minded. When you talk to your potential team or team members, um, just to have that kind of mission on the table and people jumping and then just say how I see this business supposed to go together. And the second part is to build a partnership. Right now, we have three boutiques trying to want to be our like initial funding partners. They want to see how AI agents is able to help them to bring more customer to the store. And those boutiques also they are my clients, but also I also consider them as my partner because we can shape the business together to their to how to meet the client needs and also meet the customer's needs as well. So I have to say that when you are a sole founder, it's okay to be sole founder, but the I I started playing tennis. I have to say that so founder is like you are playing single as a tennis player, but you do have a team. Like you have a coach, you have hitting partners, you have physical therapists, mental therapists as a team. So even you're performing by yourself, but you still have your team to work with you day by day. So when you perform on the court, you can perform, but your team has to believe in you and then you can deliver what your team want you to deliver.
I love the analogy of the tennis player. I think that's absolutely accurate. It is interesting, having been in the business I have been in for over 30 years. On the investor side, investors would never invest in a company with one founder. And you would almost never launch a company without a partner or a co-founder. I agree with AI that has changed. I think AI has shifted some of that risk because for investors it's about the risk, and it has shifted some of that risk away. And we used, as business terms, we used, well, it's called key man risk or key person risk, and the idea is with a solo founder, all the risk is on the founder. And if it, and very much agree, AI has changed. So let's go deeper into that. You've got, went to your website. You've got Reina. Tell us about Reina.
Reina is AI chatbot. I leverage ChatGPT to deliver the conversational styling service.
And what does so for an individual like me, how would I use your app? let's kind of walk us through on how I would use it, and then the other part of that question is that then how does the retailer use the app as well?
So it's very let's put the AI concept aside. If you hire me as your stylist, you want me to help you to figure out how to dress up, you have important events or have a date tomorrow, something new, and I will have very natural conversation. I will ask you, hey, how's your day going? And what is your favorite color? I just know more about you. And which AI is actually doing the same thing in a very conversational way. I always like to say like AI is like your personal assistant. Actually, it's like your life coach. You chat with your assistant. The more you chat with your assistant, the more your assistant know about you, so the more personalized service for your assistant can deliver. And similar concept, or what I should say, dynamic between Reina, the AI stylist or AI style assistant, with boutique, which is they actually usually hire sales associate to tell sales associate, what do I have in my collections, what do I have in my store, and how do I want you to sell my product to the store when people, to the customer when people come in. So AI is actually have the similar conversation between boutique owners and sales associates. Like AI right now will ask, hey, what do you have in your collections? Give me some ideas, and give me some images of what do you want to sell. And AI is able to say, okay, I found someone in that city, and for example, in your city, some customer may like it because I just talked to the customer yesterday. She said she liked this and this and this, and I can make the introduction. So right now is like understanding both sides, like as a boutique, what is your collection, and as customer, what do you like, what do you have in your wardrobe, what is missing from your wardrobe, and make the, like when we talk about matchmaker, AI is able to connect two sides to together.
So you may have answered this already, but let me rephrase part of it. Is does your app, the HangRr app and Raina, also, is there the ability to kind of take pictures of what I have in my closet and then to connect those? I mean, I'm not the most fashionable person in the world, and and if I'm going to match, a shirt with, a pair of trousers, generally it's going to be the same shirt and same pair of trousers. But I recognize, I've got five trousers and seven
Mhm.
shirts, and maybe there's different ways of matching that. Is that also what your app does?
Right now, we haven't built it yet, but yes, it will be available. So when you upload, like for example, you upload one pair of pants, and then say, hey, I want to get some ideas. How can I wear this pants? And the AI will be able to say, give you a whole list, like, hey, you should wear this type of shirts and blah blah blah. You can even tell, AI is like, yeah, I don't like this color, give me some other ideas. So AI will be able to generate the recommendations. I think the challenge we have right now, which is I believe AI will be able to overcome the problem, is like how when Reina AI starts giving recommendations, instead of giving text messages, she actually be able to give you images. And I think right now we don't have a very we don't have a huge amount of number of pictures we are able to mix and match. The other part is, I have to say, a lot of users assuming that I don't need to talk I need to do anything, AI is supposed to know. Actually, it's not true. AI actually is your assistant. Consider you have to communicate with your assistant very consistently, so your assistant will learn more and more about you. So AI is not like, some magic. You just say, hey, I'll give you some ideas, and AI would need a little bit more about you.
One of the things that I've seen startups, I guess the question is competitiveness. What does the
Mm,
competitive landscape look like for you? And I do want you to kind of answer the question about how COVID impacted either your business directly or the retail, because we're still on the traditional brick and mortar retail. At least, we're still seeing some closures. Macy's made a big announcement. Kohl's has made a big announcement of
yeah.
store closures. some of the stores I think we knew in Seattle, they're gone. I went back to Seattle for the first time in 3 years this past summer, and it was kind of saddened to see the number of businesses that were closed that I used to walk by every day. And New York's economy is not doing bad. I mean, there's aspects of it that's doing really well, but I think I'm reading from the National Retail Federation that it's still a tough market. So I guess there's a question of how did COVID impact the retail from your perspective? How did it impact your business? And what does the future look like as far as e-commerce? Because I know you and I've talked about there's still people, and I think I'm one of them, that I still want to be able to go into a store. I want to be able to try it on. I want to, and do that. And there's other things where I'm comfortable ordering online, and partly because I have something already similar, and so I'll just pick something out, or the ability to return the item has become easier. We just mentioned Kohl's. You can take Amazon packages back to them. I know other packages, except I'm a customer of Lands End. You can take it back pretty easily to a FedEx or a Staples. So lots of questions in that, but I'll let you take one, whatever wish, one at a time.
Well, I think when AI, oh, sorry, AI, COVID, I happened to be in New York City when the city was locked down. And after COVID, as not after, we still we still have virus. But I think a year after lockdown, I do see at least 25-35% of boutiques shut down, which is they supposed to be my clients, and then they ran out of business. And I think for New York City perspective, I do see because the people work from home, people do not feel they do need to buy so many clothes. They don't have desire to like, oh, and also I do see dress code change because of COVID. Even men work in the investment bank. They don't dress up as formal as before COVID. They are like dressed like smart casual, whatever it is, just like a shoes or whatever. So I do see people's the lifestyle and fashion landscape change because of COVID. And what I see is like I agree with you. Like before AI, there is very sharp shopping experience between online and brick mortar store. Online is basically you are actually sitting in front of a computer, spend 30 minutes browsing lots of products, and you feel comfortable, but you still spend 30 minutes when you're browsing before you make decision. When you go to brick and mortar stores, you are still spend 30 minutes in maybe two store, three store, hop on stores and different trying to figure out what do you want to buy. But because physically you're moving, so you feel like, oh my God, so much work and I don't want to go out. But the time in terms of time spending, you spend 30 minutes online browsing and 30 minutes in the store browsing. It's the same, but I think the reason before AI, the reason people prefer to go online shopping is because it's convenient. Because physically you're not tired, you're just sitting on your couch and something delivered at your door. Brick and mortar store is not able to provide that service because you still have to browse. But there are human nature. We want to feel the fabric. We want to discover something new. That brick and mortar store is not a e-commerce is not going to replace that kind of experience in a brick and mortar store. And what I want to see is bring now 2025 because of AI, the our shopping behavior is not about browsing or searching. Ours, I think, from now moving forward to the next 10 years, we are going to the shopping experience is not about searching; it's about delivering. I know about your style, so I'm delivering some recommendation to your phone, and you can choose: do you want to buy or not? And so let's go back to matchmaking. It's basically you have your AI assistant or agent to constantly learn and how can I help you to save your 30-minute search time. I'm delivering 5 items to your phone every day. You decide if you want to click and buy online, or you decide to to go to the store and very specific say these 5 items happen to be in which street and what time you can go, even try on. And so that type of um, time saving because of AI and also that kinds of shopping behavior, I think AI is able to deliver, um, potentially bring more business back to brick and mortar store because it actually you are not spending 30 minutes to search. You are actually just receive personalized item delivered. And the only thing you need to do is like, do I want to wait for 2 days to be for the five items delivered at the door, or do I want to spend another 10 minutes to drive or go to the store and immediately I got the answer, do I want to buy it or not today?
That's a good question. I think, to my surprise, as it's been just a few years since COVID, I'm surprised at how many stores haven't really changed what I call, buy now, pick up later. That has surprised me. Some have, but many of them, from my experience, have not. And I think it's an issue of, particularly with e-commerce, we expect things to be delivered within the same day, certainly next day. And that's true. I mean, Amazon kind of set that precedence, but now other e-commerce platforms, Walmart is having to follow suit, and even the small boutique shops that have an e-commerce. So let me ask you about e-commerce. What is the role, or what do you think the role will be or should be with respect to e-commerce and boutique shops? I remember, again, pre-COVID, some of friends of mine that own boutique shops said, we have a website and we have some things on there, but it's still people want to come in. But particularly with younger people, it seems, there's some mixed messages. I think that's the question to you. What are your thoughts about the role of e-commerce generally when it comes to apparel, and the role of e-commerce, use of e-commerce by the boutique shops, and how they could compete with Amazon? And I will say, you and I actually had some very interesting discussions where I would ask you, the early days, how do you compete with Amazon? And I think somewhere in my notes says, Amazon is doing something completely different. I'm not worried about Amazon, which I thought, how can you not be worried? But you had the confidence not to be worried about Amazon, and it looks like you might have been right. So, but over to you on the issue of e-commerce and boutique.
Well, I think the business model for e-commerce, there's an issue when you, for example, if I want to open the store and I'll create a website, I have to be able to be for the customer to be able to see me. So I have to spend money on advertisements on social media, on Google Ads. So when you be able to search my product and brand online. For the brick and mortar stores, if I own a store in the streets and then what I'm waiting for is to have foot traffic, people come in, and then maybe people in the same community pass by and learn about my brand and come in. So I think um, what I see is I think in the future, online and offline is supposed to be connected. So when people see something online through the phone, they'll be able to go to the store and figure out, try out in the store immediately. I have to say, the problem with e-commerce, which is I happen to have a part-time job at Ralph Lauren as a sales associate, stylist. I have to say, most of the people, you see a lot of returns. People buy online, come to the store and make return. All kinds of reasons. And people's like, I don't like it, the color looks different, the fabric or it doesn't fit. And people come into the store and return. And so I think the problem for e-commerce is they are still facing a lot of returns. They make the quick sales, they still receive, I'm not say 50%, but very high percentage of return coming back to the store. That's why there are more and more e-commerce now. They have AI agents on their websites. People talk to AI agent on their website and say, "Can you AI help me to make decision? What should I buy?" And I don't think customers want to make return. because that's something I assume majority of people sincere want to buy that piece, and they hate to make the returns, like, oh, that's such a disappointing experience I have online. So I think AI is going to play a very significant role on e-commerce. But brick and mortar stores, they also need AI to help them to navigate. How can they find the customers, find more customers coming to the store? I definitely believe that, based on my experience, when people buy, it's very interesting psychology. When I see and work at Rough Forum, when I saw customers walk in, return, usually I never seen a customer before. They buy something online, walk in the store and return. If people actually make purchase in the store and through conversation with a sales associate or something, usually don't come back return. Is that because it happened to fit or experience great, conversation nice, or they were like, oh, I don't want to come back return because she will remember me? I don't know, but I do see return rate in the physical brick and mortar store. When you shop in brick and mortar store, it's a lot less, lower than e-commerce.
There's an idea for the powers that be of brick and mortars. Maybe they should actually give a discount for buying in the store because the cost of return is so high. And it is. I mean, it's, it, the return in general is high, but in apparel, it's very high, and I do know that has a material effect. To say the investment world, material effect on earnings is that. Let me ask you one more question, and then we're going to go into the AI. Is how has the Chinese e-commerce platform, Shein and Temu and some of the others, how's that impacted either your business or kind of and the fast fashion as well? They've had some ups and downs in the fast fashion industry, but how has the Chinese e-commerce platforms impacted the industry generally? And feel free to also comment how it's impacted your business.
Well, funny, I was watching this documentary film the other day talking about Temu and Shein. They are not fast fashion, they are speedy fast fashion comparing to H&M and Zara. They are like 20 times faster than H&M and Zara. And the price is a lot cheaper than Zara and H&M. I do know a lot of people, Gen Z, they happen to be TikTok users. They love Temu and Shein because you can definitely revamp your wardrobe less than $100 for the whole season. Like every season, I've just changed my whole wardrobe. My budget is $150. I buy everything for 3 months. I definitely think there is it's a huge challenge for any brand like want to compete with people with fast fashion, because consumers, especially if you nowadays, because of social media, people do tend to feel like, oh, I want to dress up differently. If I take pictures, people see I wear that piece again. I don't want to wear that piece second time because people remember. But I do also see the rise of like a conscious, eco-friendly in Gen Z as well. People do aware of the pollution coming from fast fashion, and there are people which happen to be one of my clients. I was her personal wardrobe stylist. She only buys secondhand clothes, and sometimes she swap clothes. And the interesting thing is like there are more and more people aware of the fashion generate pollutions in Gen Z. So there are two type of Gen Z. One is like I want to be eco-friendly. I want to make sure I buy something to last long, and I care about the environment. The other type of Gen Z happen to be on social media, very, very active. They want to make sure they can be influencers, so they don't care about buying as many clothes as possible, but as cheap as possible, like $5 pair of jeans that you can easily get from Temu. Um, I think in the future, I because of AI, definitely I still think because of AI, people probably will realize that it's first of all, it's very if you keep buying new clothes, it's not easy. It's not easy job because it's constantly have to figure out what's new things to buy. And the other type of Gen Z is like, yeah, I don't really need that many pieces. I just want to have good pieces. They feel good about themselves. I think, oh, I am very optimistic about the other type of Gen Z who care about environment, how they can live in a very eco-friendly. That type of people will be the hopefully will be the foundation of fashion industry in the future, because even H&M, they were like, oh, give me your secondhand clothes, I will give you some like a coupon or something. Of course, I don't know how the fabric, how eco-friendly fabric H&M has, but they are trying to portray themselves like, I'm helping you to save the earth, I'm helping you to protect the environment. So people do feel good about themselves, like, oh, I made purchase but I'm not harming the, the environment. So i I don't think Timu and Shan will last long. I won't say they're gonna die tomorrow, but I'm just saying it is a phenomenon, but it's not going to be the next 10 or 20 years. And if you actually know, like, there are another documentary film, like, around the world, we ship secondhand clothes to Ghana, which is 30 million people in Ghana taking care of 15 million clothes every week. And I don't, and it's just unbelievable, like how overconsumption has become such a disaster.
It's interesting. I have watched documentaries as well in the past few weeks, about the volume of secondhand clothes that have gone to areas in Africa and in the developing world. I know PBS NewsHour even had a segment on it about Ghana about 2 weeks ago, and that's been an ongoing problem. You know. For a long time. It just prompted another question that I had a friend of mine who had her own label, and she wanted to have environmental friendly manufactured clothes even from China. She went to Shenzhen and went to the big shows and talked. It's still the cost of manufacturing for environmental friendly clothes is still very high. And the question is, and it's really a question to you, is do the Gen Zs, because I see the power, the future of retail is always the youngest generation. So it's I'm Generation X. We got the baby boomers. We spend clothes, but not like the millennials and now the Gen Zs. So the future of retail and apparel is Gen Z. Do you think well, let me rephrase this. I feel that they are more in tune to the environment, but I also feel that they are cost conscious. And so, how do you think that's going to balance? I know you kind of addressed it, but I'm going to pose it to you. How will that balance, and how does your business address that balance going forward in your 5-year strategy?
Well, let's go back to fundamental. The reason people buy new clothes is not because you don't have clothes in your closet. You are buying new clothes because you need some new ideas. And you feel like, oh, I ran out of ideas. Most of women will like open the closets, like, oh, I have nothing to wear. And well, they have 500 pieces in their closet. They have nothing to wear, which is, I am not type of women. Just want to be clear. So the problem is that the value of hiring a stylist, I'm not talking AI, I'm talking about human being, is like, stylist walk into your closet and let's do brainstorm together. How can I create another 20 outfit ideas from what you have in your wardrobe? So people actually feel refreshed. They spend couple $100, even $1,000 to hire stylists. Like, I spent $1,000 on hire stylists, and in the end, I don't need to buy a new piece. Or maybe I buy one, but I actually get refresh ideas of how can I mix and match. How can I dress up differently by using what I have? And you probably heard of a lot of people say 80% of pieces in your wardrobe is I don't in there. Nobody knows. Nobody remember. What do I have? So, and you keep buying new clothes and go back to pile your in your wardrobe. So what stylist before AI can do is like, let's do your wardrobe audits. Something you don't like, let's make donation. Let me figure out. And something you want to keep, let's figure out how to mix and match, create different kinds of outfit combinations. And majority of people who do not have fashion knowledge have no clue. Like, how do I mix and match? Can I mix red and green and blue? Does it make sense? People don't have that knowledge. That's why you hire stylists to help you do the work. And now AI is able to gather all the knowledge of online, how to mix and match all the outfit inspirations and deliver to you. Like, that's why there's a power of AI. You take picture of your pieces from your wardrobe. AI is like, oh, I know how to mix and match. Let me create 20 different kinds of looks, helping you. And so what I see is like my business, which is I'm delivering, which is I think go back to eco-friendly. If you're able to, if you have the power or say knowledge to figure out how can I mix and match what I have without spending a penny on new clothes, that's the value that the stylist or AI stylist is helping you to deliver. So I think people buy new clothes to three different kinds of scenarios. One is I'm an influencer. I want to make sure people see something new, so I keep on buying new stuff. And don't forget, most of influencers return 90% of the clothes they bought. They just share on the photo and they return. And the second type of people buy new clothes because physically I change, I gain weight, I lose weight, I am getting older, I want to retire some of my clothes. This is the change of your life. Third type of people is like, I just get bored, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to buy new clothes. So physical change, I don't think AI can help you, but if you just get bored, AI can help you to get some new ideas. And if you're like, if you're influencer, I'm sure AI can help you as well because you just mix and match. People won't remember what you post picture yesterday if you come up with different color, different accessories, which is actually on social media. You see a lot of influencers, they are showing you how can I wear exactly the same dress in 7 different ways. And for the next week, I'm gonna wear exactly the same dress, but different accessories. You think I'm wearing different, but I'm wearing exactly the same piece.
Yeah, you just made a lot of interesting points, and one of which is, not, a large majority of the clothes that influencers buy are returned, and I think very few people realize that. Let's go into the technology of your app and the AI. Of course, when you and I met, I was leading my own startup of ROI3, and we were developing English language learning apps for people in China to learn specialized English terminology, so aviation English and medical English. Of course, when I formed the company, my advisor says, Aaron, you know nothing about app development. I've done business in China, so I knew about doing business in China, but nothing about app development. And I had to spend a lot of time learning of what an SDK is and what an API
Mm.
is, and difference between native apps and HTML5 and all that. How Tell us about your journey on this AI. How do you learn about it? How involved are you in the development of your app? I know you've got a team, but I think it's a good lesson for people who are not technologists per se, and that are leading a technology company.
Well, first of all, we met. There was no AI or no open AI. So initially, I came up with just like learning like UX and UI, like a mock-up and hand drawing every possible features and interview developers like okay developers like oh too many features, this is how much it costs, so I have to pivot and make it as simple as possible, call MVP. Now you have AI, which is really it's very helpful. There is one platform called user or whatever. It's like you have a prompt. You like, I want to create this app, and this is the feature, and the AI will design the UX and UI quickly and just in few seconds, and give you some ideas like what it's gonna be like. I think um, I am not. I am not computer science background, and I definitely learned about SDK and the API or something like through software as a software project manager back home. Few couple of months in Foxconn, that's something I get some ideas, and later on I think the desire I want to deliver something like HangRr or AI style is basically my desire, and I talk to developers and they give me some ideas, and it's a very very personal experimental process. That how you, because first of all I'm bootstrapping, so you're trying to figure out what is the most cost effective way to deliver something and then test it out. And secondly, I think developers, if you have a team later on and when you build a team, developer will help you to navigate what is the most important features that you must to have in the very beginning. And so I think there's a lot of pivoting along the way. You need to the cost, the how much does it cost, and how long does it take? This is a basic technology project, management concept. And then you have to go back to work with the partners. My partners having to be my clients, boutiques or customers. What do you want? And you have to match the two parts, the clients and customer want, and then the project management, what's the technology, what the product can deliver what they want. And my experience, sometimes people say they want doesn't mean they want to use it. They're just like, it's nice to have, I want to use it. So there's a lot of like pivoting and then to trying to figure out what is how to move forward, step by step.
So we've got, about 7 or 8 minutes here. Let's talk about kind of the future. So in 5 years' time, what's the vision for your company, and where do you need to position? So there's three questions here. 5 years' time, what's the vision of your company? Where do you need to position your company in 3 years' time to get the acceleration to achieve that 5 year vision? And what does 2025 look like for you? What are some of your goals in the next 12 months to kind of build that progression to getting your company positioned in 3 years?
Um, the 5 year vision, the goal is to who people who using this AI stylist as your AI fashion assistants, like the assistant knows you so well. When you travel to different cities, your assistant will be able to help you to find something very cool in your local boutique. For example, you travel Paris or London, your assistant will help you to navigate where to go, and you can save some time and effort. And in order to reach that 5 year goal, let's go back to from now, 2025, this year. So we want to start it out with a very three small boutiques, which is our partners, to match their product to the customers who are our beta customers, to understand how to mix and match. And the goal is to be able to say, to understand. Let's go back to cost effectiveness, because that's how the API works. AI works. Customers want to spend as little money as possible to reach the most optimized way to dress up, to buy stuff. And I think boutiques also want to save as much money as possible and to reach the highest return on investment. So they are hiring HangRr as matchmaker to be able to reach the goal. So we want to have three boutiques and then maybe say 50 customers to learn customers' preferences and boutique collections and to mix and match. So in order to reach, so this year, what we want to do is, okay, how many customers and boutiques in New York City will be able to successfully match, and to reduce the highest return rate, and then to maximize the customers' investment. Customer also spend money on HangRr right now. So say if you spend $50 every month. I'm just made that I haven't really finalized. $50 every month for 3 months. you spend $150, you spend you save 5 hours on shopping, and you ended up buying something really tremendous, $200 a piece, and you can last $200 that piece for the next year or two. So you tend to spend less money on new purchases. So consider that $50 every month is like your smallest investment to give the highest return on investment on your closet or your wardrobe or your style. And for boutique perspective, they are spending less money on acquiring customers and through HangRr. And so the boutiques will be able to um, get the highest foot traffic, highest conversions in the store. So this is what we want to reach in New York City, to say if New York City be successful and we can go and a year, second, third year to go to Los Angeles, Chicago, and other cities in the United States. And then the fifth year, we'll be able to reach out to other cities.
Excellent. In the last few minutes remaining, what are some, we kind of talked about this, but more directly, what are some lessons learned you've experienced about yourself in this journey in building HangRr and the team and the entire experience that you think is of great value for the audience?
Um, let's use tennis as the analogy. I think when we first met, I think I was considering like you start playing tennis, you just hold a racket and you're like, okay, let me hit a ball. And over time, because you're learning and through building a team, finding the clients and everything, you become tennis player. You actually have a playbook. Like when you get on a court, you have this clear strategy. Where do I want to guidable, or how do I want to win the match? I think um I feel building a business like you are learning how to live your life. Um Over time you figure out what is the best way to live your day by day life. I think business is also I feel this is also like that, because you're building business and it's part of your life. So I definitely think you the business will change over time through your own personal experience and how you see things differently. Um, but the goal is always win the match in the end.
Absolutely. I'll leave with this piece of advice. I don't know if you remember me giving it to you, but I remember one of the times I think we met at my office in downtown Seattle at the time, and you said you were tired. You were tired because you're always having to deal with things going wrong. You're always dealing with, putting out fires. And I said, that's entrepreneurship. The day that you no longer put out fires is the day your business is in trouble. And so you're always, if because in entrepreneurship, you're always pushing the limits. You're always pushing your own limits. You're pushing the limits of your team, your company, and even your customers. You're always pushing, and things will go wrong. Hopefully not catastrophic that brings down the company, but things always go wrong. You're always putting out fires. So I commend you. You've made tremendous progress. I think it'll be exciting to see what transpires in the next year and further. And I thank you for your time. This was a great conversation,
Thank you for having me. It's nice to catch up.
and we'll continue the conversation. We'll end it here. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.